Hello there! If you're watching this video, that probably means you're having some problems with Premiere Pro. No need to worry because you're not alone. Everyone has problems with Premiere Pro. It's just one of those programs that on some days it really likes you and on others it just really hates you. This video is pretty much the troubleshooting video, and I really do hope it helps you out if you're experiencing problems, because I know it's the worst. And especially if you have a deadline and Premiere Pro just does not want to work for you, it's horrible. So hopefully this video should help you out. It will contain all of the troubleshooting techniques that pretty much exist with Premiere. So if you're experiencing constant blue screens of dead, or if Premiere Pro is constantly crashing, then this is for you. Okay, so let's get started. The first one is really slow playback speed. If you're experiencing really chuggy playback speed, or if the application's really slow and unresponsive, then this could be a few things. The first thing I would check out is hardware acceleration. Depending on your computer specifications, only some computers will be able to support this feature. Normally higher end computers with CUDA graphics cards can only do this. You can check this in your settings panel. However, if you already had that selected, or if that just didn't do anything, then one of the big issues that everyone has, it's one that's overlooked so much, is your actual drives. Depending on where Premiere Pro is installed on, it makes a big difference. If Premiere Pro is installed on an SSD, which is really highly recommended, then it's going to be a lot faster. However, it's on a hard drive, it can be really unresponsive sometimes. But that's sometimes not the issue. If you're on an SSD and it's still slow, if your media that you're using in your Premiere Pro clip is on a hard drive, so say you have dual drive computers, so you have an SSD with the OS installed and Premiere Pro installed on, and a hard drive with all your media on, then Premiere Pro is trying to grab the media from the hard drive, and sometimes that can be where everything collapses. A way to check if any of this is an issue, because I don't think this is really making much sense, is one easy way to see if this is the problem. Go into your task manager and make sure that you've got the more options selected, and then go into the second tab where it shows you all of your statistics of the computer. Check on the left hand side if there's any really high thresholds with the drives. If your hard drive is maxed out at 100%, well then that's where your problem is. If any drive there is maxed out and peaking to 100%, then Premiere Pro is struggling to get enough information from that video. Double check if your media is coming from that drive. If it is, then that's where the problem is. Premiere Pro just can't get enough information from that video and play it in real time. I suggest moving that media over to an SSD, or if you don't have one, I really do recommend buying an SSD. I mean, they're super cheap these days. You can get a 128GB one for, what, 30 bucks. And it can be a lifesaver. Everything will just be a lot faster. If you can't afford it, then that's alright, but you may have to put... There's not really much I can recommend apart from that. SSDs are a lifesaver. Okay, this one is a big one. Premiere Pro crashing. Okay, this is a whole nother wormhole. This is probably the one that could be really confusing. This could be so many different things. Premiere Pro can sometimes really be unstable. The first thing that I would check if Premiere Pro is constantly crashing is if you've changed anything recently, such as settings, plugins, or anything that you've changed that could possibly result into constant crashes. Now, depending on what crash you get, depends on what the issue is. If you get the classic Windows not responding program, then that could be something with your Windows installation. Or if you're getting an internal crash with Premiere Pro and it warns you before it, then that could be something with Premiere Pro. The second thing that I would check would be your Premiere Pro installation. Is everything up to date? If not, it probably wouldn't hurt to just reinstall Premiere Pro and see if that fixes it, because that can really do wonders. If not, it could be something with your computer. I hate to say it, but yeah, there can be issues. I'd also check your memory. If it's constantly crashing, I'd also check if it's something that you're doing. If it's crashing as soon as you press the button, well, check what that is, or even check in the task manager. Like seriously, task manager is an absolute lifesaver. Check if there's any unusual activity with anything of your hardware. Is memory peaking to the top? Is your graphics card overworking or not even working at all? Is your CPU not doing anything? That can really help you out. Next problem is blue screens of death, or BSODs. Blue screens of death is that other thing that could mean so many different things. Typically, it's something to do with the computer. Now, whenever you have a blue screen of death, definitely pay attention to the error stop code, because that basically tells you what it is. Now, some blue screens of death won't even have a stop code because it doesn't even know what happened. Typically, there's something to do with Premiere Pro. But if it does have a stop code, then check what that is and then really do look it up, see what the problem is. Because Google really does have all the answers. It has every stop code in existence on that. So search it up, see if you can fix it via there, and hopefully that makes things better. If it's a file name that it shows, like a name and then SYS or an extension, then that's with your Windows installation. So sometimes, like I experienced, I kept getting random blue screens of death and it always said a problem with my Windows installation. It always had a file name that went wrong. The last thing that I can suggest is also running a scan on your Windows files to see if there's any corruption with your Windows installation. You can do this through command prompt, and I will post the command in the description below. And that will pretty much scan your Windows and see if there's any problems there. If there's any problems, then it will reinstall that particular file, and hopefully everything's good after that. I would definitely try that one before you go ahead and reinstall Windows. The next one is rendering problems. If you're experiencing rendering issues, don't worry, you're not alone. Now, the first one is if you're just experiencing really slow renders. This one is very, very common, and the first thing I would suggest is have a look at your hardware encoding. Is your hardware acceleration? Yes, I know, I've gone back to hardware acceleration. It could just be that it's not getting any support from your graphics card. If it is that, then easy, just go to that same area and change it to CUDA. But if it's crashing on a particular point when it's rendering, or if it's just crashing whenever it feels like when it's rendering, then it could be something different. If it's crashing whenever it feels like, then that could be something with your computer, that it's unstable. Check your task manager. Whoop-de-doo, I went back to that again. If it's crashing on a particular point when it's on your timeline, whenever it renders to a certain point and then it, boom, it dies, it crashes, then check where that point is on your timeline and see if it's something that Premiere Pro is really struggling to render. If it is, then if it can't render something, then it can't render something. It freaks out and it crashes. So see if there's a particular effect or something there that wouldn't work. I experienced this firsthand when I was editing. I did a marathon edit and then I exported, and then it just always kept crashing on like 98% of the video, and I couldn't figure out why. I went to the timeline and then I noticed that I put a swirl effect on, and that it just couldn't handle it. So I deleted the swirl effect and it exported brilliant. So that is something that I don't know why it does that, but play around with it and see if there's any issues. That is basically everything that I can suggest. If there's anything else that I missed, which it probably is, because like it's really hot today and I'm tired, it's the weekend, I want to sleep, then make sure to let me know in the comments below. I'll read it out and I'll pin it if it's good and if I missed it. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the 3 episodes of my editing series. If you haven't seen the first 2, then I do suggest checking them out if you're starting Premiere Pro, if you want some tips and tricks. But yeah, that's it done. I hope this helped you out if you're experiencing problems, and let me know if you didn't see anything here or a situation that you don't know what's happening. Let me know. I should be able to help you out if I can. So yeah, thanks again for viewing, watching. I know it sucks when Premiere Pro doesn't work. It's really the worst thing ever, but I hope this helped someone. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.